We begin with some breaking news just down the street at the U.S. Capitol. After weeks of tension over U.S. President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, the Senate has just entered a final vote and appears to have confirmed Brett Kavanaugh as the next Supreme Court justice. That's despite multiple allegations of sexual assault that were made against him. Republicans called it a witch hunt. Democrats accused the other party of simply ignoring women's voices. CGTN's Jim Spellman joins us live from Capitol Hill, where it's all happening. Jim, bring us up to date.
Yeah, Roy, so the U.S. Senate, they're just going through some procedural steps here at the end. All of the senators have voted, and by a narrow margin, there are enough votes to move Brett Kavanaugh on to a lifetime appointment on the U.S. Supreme Court. That after a bitter, highly partisan debate and confirmation process here on Capitol Hill. The whole process took a dramatic turn when a psychology professor named Christine Blasey Ford came forward and accused Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault when both of them were in high school. Both Blasey Ford and Kavanaugh testified before the Senate committee. Kavanaugh denied that anything was wrong. There was a one-week-long FBI investigation into this. President Trump spoke about his nominee and that investigation a short time before the vote. Listen.
He will be a great justice of the Supreme Court. People have thought that for 10 years. They thought he's just an extraordinary person, a great talent, and I think he's going to make us all very proud. I also feel very strongly that in the end, maybe the process, it was really unattractive, but the extra week was something that I think was really good.
Democrats say that second investigation was not nearly thorough enough, but at the end of the day, the Democrats could only get one Republican to side with them against Kavanaugh, while the Republicans were able actually to get one Democrat to side with them. Here's a Democratic senator commenting before the vote.
Today, in just a few hours, the United States Senate is going to turn its back on righteousness. It's going to turn its back on fairness and reason. And make no mistake, it is going to turn its back on women.
And Roe, in addition to the sexual assault claims, Democrats say that Kavanaugh is simply too conservative, that he could provide a swing vote to overturn the landmark Roe versus Wade ruling, which has allowed American women to have legal abortions. Roe?
Jim, of course, the Supreme Court is supposed to be removed from all this partisanship, but this has really been quite a divisive process. We heard those interruptions there in the Senate hall during the vote. We've seen protests throughout the week outside Capitol Hill and the Supreme Court, and indeed outside the White House. What's the scene been like there where you are?
Roy, it's hard for me to recall a non-election day level of interest, of advocacy going on. We've seen protests all across Capitol Hill for the last several weeks, on the steps of the Supreme Court, on the steps of the Capitol, as you mentioned, in the Senate gallery itself, and in buildings like this where protesters are going into senators' offices, pressuring them to vote largely against Kavanaugh. We will hear as well as from some who support him, but it's been much more visible seeing the people that are opposing Kavanaugh. Listen to a little bit of what we've heard.
I am so angry. I do not want to leave this place or leave the streets. They're not listening to women, and they're not listening to survivors.
He's an extremely qualified man, and this is really not about Kavanaugh. It's about people that are trying to witch hunt him to tear down what the country is doing. So it's kind of a witch hunt.
And that passion is not going to end now that Brett Kavanaugh, as appears to have been confirmed. Both sides now are digging in to use this heightened sense of involvement leading into the crucial midterms. This is undoubtedly a political win for President Donald Trump, but the Democrats say they are going to take this passion and try to turn that into higher voter turnout, especially among female voters in those midterm elections, which are just about a month from now, Roy.